Welcome back. Here we are. My name is Jerrod. I'm your attitude coach, and we are here today to speak with Mr. Cheyne Murphy, give you a little bit of an introduction. This is, by the way, this is episode number 6 of the Attitude series. And Cheyne, I've probably known Cheyne now and have been in the mix with Cheyne over the last, I almost want to say, decade, easily 10 years. And we were just laughing earlier before we kicked off, just talking about swimming and swimming with Red Cliff Tri Club and the fact that I was probably in the slow lane while he was in the fast lane. But Cheyne has, we'll get some photos up and talk more about it, but Cheyne has been an Ironman athlete now for the better portion of those years. He's done 5 Ironman. He's been a qualifier for Kona. He went in last year, qualified for Kona. Phenomenal times, which we'll get some information off of Cheyne about that as well. But we're very excited. This guy did not come from an Ironman pedigree, so to speak. This is something that he made a shift and a change, and this is all what the Attitude Series is about, is somebody who got a little sick and tired of being sick and tired and doing something about it. So welcome, Cheyne Murphy.
Thank you for having me, Jerrod.
Hey, man, it's good to have you here. I know it's been a little bit, and but I want to kind of kick off a little bit beforehand, so people who don't know Cheyne, just to share a little bit about your story, about how you even got involved with sport, or is that something as a kid growing up from Caboolture, Narangba, going through all that, because you were a super sport-orientated kid.
Yeah, so I guess, parents were, I was lucky enough to have parents that sort of supported me in doing whatever I wanted to do, and I played a huge amount of sports growing up, rugby league, from barefoot to sort of under 13s and union, but baseball was really my passion when I was from a 5-year-old through to late 20s. I played baseball, and that took me around the world a couple of times. Went to America on 3 occasions, and I've represented Australia in that light as well, and it was a big part of my life.
Can I stop you there for a second, dude? Because that is super exciting. That was one of the things, that was a standout moment for me when you told me that, even years ago when we first met, and you were talking about, like, maybe because I opened my mouth and you're like, are you from America? And I was like, yeah, sure. Dude, that's me. I'm from the States. You're like, I played baseball. Did you play baseball? We might have talked about Pee Wee League or something.
Yeah, sure.
But I got excited about the fact that you're an Aussie who got a chance to go to the States and actually play for Australia. Yeah, sure. So to speak. In baseball.
So
what was that like?
Oh, it was amazing. So, the first couple of times I went there with, I remember vividly getting a phone call that to the classroom to get sent down the office. And I'm like, oh, here we go again. But it was my mum on the phone asked me if I wanted to go to America on a baseball trip. And I'm like, is this a prank call? So I got to go when I was 13 years old, went away with a team, the Brisbane Bandits, like a development team, and we travelled through Hawaii, and I was like, this 13-year-old kid with eyes this big, getting to go to Major League Baseball games, it was a stunning time, and I did that again when I was 15, and I was getting, better and better at the game, and then lucky enough when I was 17 to make the first Australian side, and then second year I made the Australian side. We went to the World Championships in Canada. So
wow,
it was an amazing time playing against these Cuba and Taipei. It was an amazing experience.
Very cool, very cool. And baseball, it hasn't completely left your blood though, has it?
No. It's funny, my 2 boys, out of all the sports that I've played, never pushed them into anything, and baseball's the one that they've picked up, so they're pretty passionate about it as well. I was only at the rep trials yesterday with my oldest boy, and they're loving it. But yeah, they got a passion for it, and it's nice to be back involved. And I coached them the last couple of years, and it's it's nice to be able to give some back as well. The stuff that I've taken in through my years of getting coached by good coaches, been able to give a little bit of that back.
Awesome. I did see some pictures. You're big on Facebook, so I know there's some pictures in it. And obviously, with your permission, I think is one of your boys, is he taller than you now?
Oh, he's a monster. I don't know where he got it from. Yeah, he's got a foot on me now.
Oh, well, there you go.
If he didn't look like me, I'd be starting to ask questions, Full bugger.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
So, sporting background, grew up in Caboolture. I always think about these areas, because people that stay in their same area and they stay where they grew up and went to Caboolture High School, which is also a few other famous people went to Caboolture High School too. But so, what is it about the area? What is it about the sport? What is it about that's
Yeah.
kept you involved in all of that?
Well, I think we've got some at work. We've got the north side and the south side gang, and I think if you're on one side of the river, you tend to stay there your whole life. But as Caboolture was one of those places that we're like, we've got to get out of here, and we've literally gone 10 k's down the road to Narang Bar. But it's a great spot, It's only half an hour to the sunny coast, half an hour to the city, so it's place wise, it's great. Good training ground, to be able to go north or go south or go west. It's there's plenty of training areas for us to get amongst it. But I think family as well has probably kept us pretty close. My brother, my sister live within 2 kilometres of my house, and my mum isn't too far away. So my he's disappeared up to Puna, but so he's a bit more of a trek. But yeah, I think that's Mandy's family is close by as well. So I think that's probably the one thing that sort of has held us where we are. And there's worse places to live, that's for sure.
I think it's pretty cool. I feel pretty lucky about being in Australia, but I think that area up there. You're right, north side, south side. Now I live on the west side.
Yeah.
It's in saying that, very great area. Some of the stuff that I know you're passionate about is we talk about sport, we talk about coaching, training, all that. And we talked about this a little bit beforehand, and I wanted to get your take on it for people that are listening. And we'll answer some more questions in a second, but I want to get your take on haven't got enough time.
Yeah,
haven't
sure.
got enough time, because people are talking to you about that every now and then because of what you've achieved.
Yeah.
In this period, to be able to go from Cheyne Murphy, 10 years ago to Cheyne Murphy today, there's been an evolution for you.
Yep.
And a lot of that is you've had to prioritize your
100%.
schedule and between family and work commitments and making a decision to make a decision.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the age old saying is I wish I had time, and it can be for anything. It doesn't have to always be sport, but I wish I had more time for my kids. I wish I had more time for that. If you want to find the time, it's there. You just got to make some adjustments in your life to look and find it. So. It's I don't watch a lot of TV. I get sucked in every now and then to a series with the wife, but it's one of those things that if you want time, it's there. It's just not sitting in front of the TV, or if it is, you may be on the wind trainer to get it done. So but it's it is there if you want it. There's plenty of hours in the morning before people actually have to go to work to get stuff done, and plenty of hours after as well. So with it, find that fine mix of family, not losing sight of family and all the rest of it, because this crazy sport does cause some dramas if you go in too deep and you don't have the support of the family as well, which is a massive one for me.
Absolutely. We were speaking on the phone, you were talking about this, and it made me reflect on a mentor that I had in the past that said to me, you're either single or you're married. You make a decision, and then your business life will go forward.
Yep.
And the same thing revolved around triathlon when I think about how destructive triathlon in its own right can be for
100%.
couples out there. If you
Yeah.
don't have a supportive couple
Yep.
on a journey to get you to that place, it can be super challenging for you guys to hold it together. But you have been able to maneuver through that successfully over the years. So how do you and Mandy manage that?
I think I involve her in all the decisions.
Yep.
When right from the get-go, Mary Jackson, we talked about, she was my first coach in triathlon, and she started a group for the partners, and particularly when we're going to our first Ironman, she was talking to them as much as she was talking to us to say, right, this is the situation, this is what you're going to be feeling, because she's been through it 100 times and understands it. So I think that was a great help, and I've always say. When I changed up coaches, Mandy was at that first meeting with my new coach, and she has to buy into it as well. Otherwise, and I've always said that to anyone, getting into and looking to doing Ironman. So if your wife's not on board, don't do it. It's not worth it at the end of the day. So, it's you got to have that support, or it is very difficult. And I've always had that. And, I've been able to go and chase down some big goals.
That's cool, man. That's very cool. Kudos to Mandy. She's not here right now, but this is for Mandy. Mandy, We'll see you next time. But yeah, so that's super important. And also, because you've got a young family as well.
Absolutely.
And you got to work around them.
Yeah, absolutely. So so I did my first Ironman in 2014, and I think my little girl she was only a toddler basically, and my oldest boy was probably, he would have been, what are we talking? Yeah, 9. So I had 9, 6, and 3 with Mandy on the sidelines, with them 3 trying to control them while I'm, running around like an idiot. And yes, it was, be honest, it's got easier as they've got older for sure, because they were disappointed when I didn't go back to Port Macquarie this year because that was their holiday, So
Right.
I did 4 of them in a row and 4 Cairns in a row, and it's just become the norm for them. And I guess I've always played sport, and I've always been one through my rugby union, rugby league, baseball. If I commit to something, I commit to it, and that's something Mandy accepted early on. That I'm part of this, and I've from a team side of things, and then when it went to individual, and that's one thing I talk about a bit as well, is I really love the challenge of triathlon, because you go out and play footy and you get beaten by 30 points and you go, shit, if he had have picked that ball up, or if he hadn't have missed that tackle, like you're always pointing fingers at other people. But triathlon, you're on your own, and you get out what you put in, and race day, you got no one else to blame.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. It's a very individual sport. And you got to get better at it.
Yeah.
Well, some people do, some people try it,
Yeah,
and
sure.
move on.
Yeah.
If we back up for a second, there was prior to kicking off, one of the things that I was amazed about was the transition, because we all go through life and we have certain things that stop us from pursuing our interest. And one of my interests has always been sport, but it's also been running. And I got stuck into doing business for a number of years, and I lost my way, which is how I found Redcliffe Tri Club down the track and got involved. I was looking at some of your previous photos, and we'll pop some up anyways for people to be able to see this. But you had got to a stage in your life where you were literally over, and you're, how tall are you?
Not very tall. I'm 68.
Yeah, and you were 110?
100, pushing 105 to 110,
Yeah, kilos.
kgs, yeah.
And so there's this photograph of a a triathlete,
a red tri-suit,
a red tri-suit,
red boat cover maybe.
That's exactly it. For you to get to that point, what was happening in your life that you just
it was nothing negative in my life, to be honest. I worked in sports stores, and sport was my passion. My dad said, "Well, make that your life." At the end of the day, and I'm like, "Okay, take it on board." And worked in sports stores for my teenage years, which were always very supportive of my sport as well when I had to go away or whatever. And I then took on a sales rep's role. Yeah. And that's kind of where it all started, that it was the easy option to go through the drive-through, and you got a passion for McDonald's, maybe, I don't know.
Hey, you're speaking to some listeners right now.
Yeah,
I mean, you're absolutely right. It's easy just to take the drive-through. It's easy to pick up a takeaway.
Sure.
It's easy to do all that
stuff.
stuff.
Yeah. And when cash is tight too, you think of, I can go buy a $9 sandwich, or I can get a meal here, for $6. It was like, that mentality was just the easy option was to go through the drive-through, and that that does sneak up on you. And then one day I just kept looked in the mirror, and then lucky enough to work with a brand, ASICS, that creates healthy lifestyle, and I was with them for a long time as a big unit as well, and I'm standing on the sidelines of races where we'd go to work at Mooloolaba or Noosa or the Gold Coast Marathon, just watching people out there achieving, and I'm like, I need a piece of that, and I looked in the mirror and didn't like what I saw, and it made a change.
That's great, man, because you know what? So it was, and I had no idea that's where you were, advertising and you'd seen that. So visually, you took a look at yourself and you said, I've got to do something about this.
Yeah. And one thing I think I've read, or whether I made it up or not, but like the mirror can be your greatest motivator at the end of the day, because everyone likes to look good. Yeah. And that's something that you can take a look at and wonder whether you're happy and whether I can make some changes.
Shane, I don't know if it's just me, but I feel very fortunate that I'm not packed on the weight over the years, and that my transition has changed. But I was walking yesterday, and this is what I was trying to think about. I was walking yesterday through some tennis courts down at UQ.
Yep.
And there was a guy down there playing tennis with another guy. One guy looked like me, and he kind of, same frame. And then another guy looked like he was about 130 kilos.
Yeah.
But the guy that was 130 kilos was hitting the ball like a pro.
Yeah.
He was all over the court like
Yeah.
a pro. And all I could think, and this guy would have been in his 30s, all I could think about was he must have learned how to play tennis as a younger kid, and then just things, life got in the way, and he got to that point, and now he's trying to get back.
Yeah, sure.
And you must see that quite a bit
absolutely.
as a development coach, where people are trying to get back to a former place where they're at. And are you coming across that right now?
Yeah, 100%. I see it so much when I'm around the events as well. You know, you see people with so much, I guess, potential and talent that they've grown up with, and you see it in the pool a fair bit as well. You can see that people are good swimmers, but they've packed on the weight a little bit. So, and that can be through all different reasons. It's not just, you know, like I just went out and ate myself stupid. There can be a lot of, you know, mental things there as well as physical. And health. So, you know, you can't just pigeonhole, you just eat too much food, that's what you need to stop. It's there's probably more to it in a lot of cases, but you know, it's one of those things that you can go and make some small changes to get big results as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, 100% see it in a lot of places.
What was your attitude back then? If we go back to you sitting on the sidelines at Malubal watching these athletes go by, what was your attitude towards what was happening in front of you with triathlon?
Yeah, well, I think, you know, when I first started, you know, swimming with Redcliffe, you know, I couldn't swim 50 meters. And Jacko, the coach, was constantly telling me to slow down. I'm like, slow down, I'll drown. You know, I just need to get to the end as fast as possible, you know. And I guess at the end I come up like a big breech whale and take a big deep breath. But you know, that was the thing. That was the one thing that scared me. The run and the bike, you know, you could bumble your way through that, but you can't drown on the bike, you know. So I'm standing on the sidelines in Malubal Triathlon watching, you know, big units come down the finish line. I'm like, whoa, if that guy can do it, surely I could, you know. Like, and I had mates from work, you know, like, just do it, you know. So it started small at the old Bribey Try, and then worked it up from there. So
and that's such a great starting ground too.
100%.
So you don't recommend people going straight to Ironman?
No, it does happen though. It happens a lot.
It does, and I think that's probably just people can sign up for them nowadays.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
What's your take on that? As far as like, do you think that maybe they should go ahead and, you know, take the time to go into sprint, Olympic, half, and then full?
I think that's the way to do it, because I mean it's one of those things that, you know, for my time in the sport, you've always got something else out there as well. Where if you go out and go jump straight into an Ironman and you hate it, well, you're done. That's your last triathlon you'll ever do, sort of thing. So I think all the excitement I talk to people about, you know, in coaching and then just talking to people in the sport is they're excited about, you know, getting to their first half and getting to their first, you know, marathon or whatever it may be, and, you know, even just their first sprint distance triathlon. You know, the excitement is the same for all the different distances, and I guess the jubilation at the end of the race is the same as well. You still feel that same sense of achievement, whether it be a sprint distance or a half Ironman or a full Ironman. But I strongly, you know, think that doing that progression is the best way to get the best result at the other end, and still enjoy the sport as well, and longevity.
Yeah, cool. Are you still being coached right now?
I'm back on program as of tomorrow.
Okay.
I'm heading to a new challenge. So, so I've had a bit of a breather since Kona, and I've been training, but I've been sort of coaching myself, and it's something that I've become passionate about as well.
Awesome. How do you do that, man? I've never been that good at, you know, like, I've been better when I've had a program and I'm being coached than if I just kind of half-heartedly, follow something. How do you do that, you know, for yourself to be as disciplined as you are?
Yeah, well, I guess that's one thing I've always had is I'm a fairly motivated person, which no matter what sport, as I said, I'll go. I'm all in, sort of thing. So I still set myself a weekly plan in Training Peaks, based on the same sort of 4-week cycle, and I'm working myself towards the Sunny Coast 70.3, and I've been there and done it, and I've learnt a lot over the last 10 odd years, and particularly in the last few about the periodization side of things, and that's something I set a week. But if I just went and just gone, I'll go for a swim tomorrow, I'll go for a bike on Wednesday, that's when it gets difficult. But if you've got a set plan in front of you, then you want to be ticking the boxes.
Yeah, there you go. So 70.3 is your next big race.
Yeah, well.
Is that right?
Yeah, I'm racing Sunny Coast, hopefully, yeah.
Okay,
so.
all right. And something like that for people listening, what is that? What is that in What does that race look like for you?
As in distance-wise, or me going out and having a crack?
And also having a crack.
Yeah. I mean, I go out in every race and try and get the best out of myself at the end of the day. I'm not just going out to walk around, but I've had some niggles over the years, and I'm just coming back from a bit of a calf drama as well, which is something that's plagued me my whole life through my footy days and triathlon. But seems to be every time I go off program, which Rich, my coach, says that I just need to not go off program, that I get these little niggles. But yeah, so I'll train hard over the next 7 weeks and get myself in the best shape I can. Need to drop a few kegs between now and then, but to be competitive. But I can go out and be competitive now, I believe, and I think it's a mental game as well as the physical, obviously.
Yeah, and with that, your age group's 35, 39?
No, 40 to 44 now.
Oh, no way!
Yeah. So I turned 40 in January, so I'm in the big smoke now.
Not
that it gets any easier in the 40 to 44 category. I think they're faster.
I think those guys are tough guys.
Yeah, and there's a lot of them, yeah.
Yeah, so those tough guys because they're going through, heading towards some midlife crisis.
Yeah, that's right.
They got something to prove.
They got money to spend on big bikes and disc wheels and but it's there's always the fast guys at the pointy end. And it's one of the biggest categories is the 40 to 44.
So, what's your best time at Malulaba that you've done in the past?
In 70.3?
Yeah.
Geez.
Or what was your previous?
Wow, off the top of my head, I think it's 4:30 or something along those lines. So,
Are you wanting to beat the 4:30?
Well, I think it's. I think I'm a different athlete now than what I was then. From a strategy standpoint, I didn't go in with a lot of strategy back. I haven't done the Sunny Coast for a few years now.
Okay.
It just kind of hasn't worked in with the program with the Ironman program over the last few years, and that's something I'm excited to go back and race the 70.3 because I haven't, particularly on Sunny at Malulaba.
So stay tuned because obviously we'll probably see a sub 4:30.
I hope so. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
give it a bit of a build up, but yeah,
that's very exciting. And the kids are going to have a holiday on this one.
Well, it's pretty close to home, so I probably don't need to.
Yeah,
it's one of those ones we end up just driving up for. So yeah, it's only half an hour from home.
Fantastic. So moving forward, one of the new things that you've been kicking into, which is, as you say, has been recent, is the coaching side of things.
Yeah.
In terms of triathletes, or maybe you're coaching runners, swimmers as well.
Yeah.
And cyclists, but. Can you share some more about the coaching side of things that you've got involved in?
Something I've really enjoyed. It's only been a couple of months. I've had probably 3 months with some athletes now, and I've had such a fantastic time over the last couple of years with Rich at T0 and from a development standpoint for me as an athlete, I've gone from being a 10:30 Ironman to a 9:19 Ironman, and I never thought. All I went to him was with I wanted to go sub 10. I went to him and I'd done 10:15, and I said, "Listen, I want to go sub 10." He just sort of giggled. I'm like, "What's so funny?" It was laughable to him because he could see that I was all in and that he could turn me into something. So. Having all that experience through getting coached by him from a mental standpoint and a physical, I've taken that into coaching now with T0. So, now Rich not only is my coach, he's also my coaching mentor. So,
awesome.
So I've got 4 athletes and they're all triathletes that I'm coaching at the moment. I've sort of held it at 4 because I don't want to extend out too far. I live a pretty busy life with my training and my work life. But it's something that I've really enjoyed so far. Setting some goals for some guys, and albeit that they're triathletes, all I've had them do so far is run half marathons and marathons. So only this morning, a couple of them come across the line, so at the jetty to jetty. But it's something I'm really passionate about, and I'm looking forward to developing there.
So with being a coach right now, what do you think? What have you picked up, first of all, because there's obviously information that's been transferable, but what have you picked up from Rich along the way that's helped you even start to coach people and for them to see some results?
Yeah, I mean it's consistency is it's the number one rule. There's if you're consistent, you'll see results. If you're doing the right program, you're doing the right type of training, you'll see results. And I think those two things is doing the right training. With consistency is almost instant results, and it's something that you get some people come in, they've come back after a break as well, and they expect to see results like that, and sometimes it doesn't happen. Sometimes it is a steady process. And it's the consistency, you're just laying those layers on. All of a sudden, you're 6 months down the road and you've just gone and belted a PB by 20, 30 minutes sort of thing. So, I think consistency is the biggest thing that I've had in my training, and that's the one thing that I've taken out, and I think I've surprised Rich from that standpoint as well, from a training standpoint, that I just go get it done. With what else going on in life, you just sort of make time for it and get it done. So. But yeah, I think the mental game's the other thing that Rich has coached with me, and that's something I'm passing on. It's the old saying, it's 90% mental when you get to Ironman, and hey, you've done all the training, but you can be as the fittest man alive and go out and bomb an Ironman and be walking the last 20k. So. That's when times get tough, you need to have the head there to get you through those times, to get you back to the finish line. So
absolutely. How many days have you ridden your bike in the rain?
Lots. Yeah, I'd rather ride in the rain than ride on the wind trainer, to be honest.
Yeah.
I find it a bit brain numbing, but yeah. I did ride it a couple of times this week because it got down to 3 and 4 degrees. I'm like, I might just sit in the garage. So
yeah, exactly. It's a bit chilly out there.
Yeah. So, but I'm not. Once again, people get it's raining, can't go out. Oh, it's windy, can't go out. Well, that's what makes you hard.
That's exactly right. Probably go back to that same moment talking about, being coached by even Mary Jackson.
Yep.
And the fact is like, where do you think you're going to be on the when you get out of the water?
Yeah.
Because you're going to be on that bike for 4 to 6 hours.
Yeah, sure.
And during that time, it's going to be what time of the day?
Yeah.
Maybe middle of the day.
Sure.
You could be in the dead of the heat. Let's go train in the heat. Let's train.
That's right.
Don't just run in the morning because you're not going to be on your bike in the morning.
No, that's exactly right.
If it's going to be raining in the afternoon, let's go ride in the rain. So, you can control those elements by being part of that. That, which I think is a pretty cool aspect of being smart.
I think the other thing that I guess got me to where I got to as well is I did a lot of training on my own. I had my great training mates of Nathan, Dan, and we did, and my brother, we trained for a few Ironmans together, and we travelled around having a lot of fun doing it.
You're talking about Jason, right?
Yeah.
Jason.
Yeah.
he's a great guy, man.
Yeah, he's pretty handy runner now too. He's run a couple of he's nearly cracking the 3 hour mark. So
wow.
But training with those guys, we had so much fun getting it done as well, But then when I went to Rich, my program kind of didn't fit in with what they were doing, so I ended up doing a lot of stuff by myself, and I genuinely found that made me strong. Like when you're riding up the sunny coast and you come back into a blockhead wind the whole way, there's nowhere to hide, and it's exactly the same on race day. There's nowhere to hide on race day when that wind's at your head coming home from Port Douglas into Cairns, and that's what's got me to where I am now. I think is that mental strength of just going out and getting it done.
Tough, You're tough. Will we ever see any more Kona?
I'd never say never, that's for sure. And I had planned to go to Busso at the end of the year, but as a bit of a lead up to next year. But it's sort of off the cards now with what's going on with work, and we're just making the progress towards May next year, and for the next big goal. And it's It was one of those races that I worked so hard to, and I'd sort of pull you up. I've done 10 Ironman with Kona being my 10th.
You have pulled me up. Thank you very much. And you need to pull me up, man. So, yeah.
Cut me 5 Ironman short.
Cut you 5 short. We didn't count the first 5, did we?
That's right.
We're only talking the last 5. Yeah.
So, I got to, I worked so hard over particularly, the last 6-7 years, but the last couple in particular, I've really, gone all in and had a real crack at it and brought my times down a fair way to be in the mix of the fast guys. And
tremendous.
And Kona was never it wasn't a lifetime dream for me. I didn't grow up thinking of Kona, but the more I got into the sport, the more I wanted it.
So in saying that, because that's what happens, the more you get into it, the more you want it. And I think maybe that's a personality thing.
Yeah, sure.
Would you say?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, some people have got no aspirations. They just want to get to the finish line, and that's fantastic also. Don't get me wrong. But then, it sneaks up on you. I thought the finish line was all I wanted in my first one too, and then the second one, I reckon I can beat that time. And
yeah. I mean, I've heard people say, look, I want to get to the finish line. But then once you've done that, then you go, if you're really switched on as an athlete, and if you've got a background like you in there, you probably start questioning, oh, well, I probably could have done that a little bit quicker. My transition's this.
Yeah, absolutely.
I screwed up when I was trying to do nutrition, and all of that stuff plays a crazy part. So that is the
100%.
mental aspect
Yeah.
of your game, which separates you from other people that just show up on the day.
Yeah, sure. And it took my second Ironman in Melbourne for me to get serious about it, because I had a pretty tough day that day. Swam really well, rode around the 5 hour mark, and whether I pushed a bit too hard on the bike, I don't know, but I got to the 10k mark on the run and started cramping, and I'm like, oh no, there's a long way to go. So, but we limped to the finish line that day, and then went and got a bit more serious about things and started doing some testing and finding out more about my body and what it needed to fuel, and I've never looked back since doing those tests. So
wow. Wow. So are there any co-sponsors out there right now that are looking at you?
Yeah, well, I work with, I'm an athlete with Infinite Nutrition, and they've been fantastic. It's it's been a product that I've used, from the early days, and then I had to tweak it up a little bit when I went and did that testing, and that's the beauty of it, that it's all customized, and you can get that product to suit what you need.
Awesome. Well, this is actually Woolies mineral water.
Cheers.
Cheers. So yeah, moving forward, there is a big goal that you've got coming up.
Yep.
Obviously you've set this up. I don't know if we just spoke about this earlier.
Yeah.
But you've got something coming up, which you got the support of Mandy.
Yep.
Fantastic.
Yep.
And it's not an easy feat.
No.
It's the Ultraman.
Yeah, sure.
What does that consist of for somebody out there who does not know what Ultraman is?
Yeah, so it's a 3-day triathlon essentially.
Yeah.
So the first day you swim 10 kilometers in the ocean. It's the one I'm doing is in Noosa.
People don't even walk that distance.
Yeah, sure. And hey, we know that Noosa can be a bit choppy on a crappy day too. So there's a 10-kilometer swim, which you have someone with you in a kayak just in case.
For anybody listening to this in the U.S., 10Ks is 6.2 miles. If anybody,
it doesn't sound fun, whichever way you put it. No. But it's one of those things. You just go out and get it done. So you come out of the water after your 10K swim, and you jump on the bike and you ride 140K through the hinterland in Noosa. And that's day one done.
Nice.
You go and recover and go to sleep, and then we get up the next day, and there's a 280K ride on the second day.
Oh wow!
So it's a straight bike race on the second day. And then the third day, you get up, hopefully with some sleep in your corner, and you run a double marathon. So 84.4k. So
wow.
And that's basically from Noosa to Maroochydore, turn around and run on back. So.
And do you know anything about times that people have been doing these Ultramans in?
Yeah, there's some freaks, and there's generally some professional athletes that have done it, like the guy that won this year, and his name's Carl Reed. He ran a 6:28 double marathon. So 2 3:14 marathons, if you can get your head around that. Wow. So my fastest marathon off the bike in an Ironman's 3:19, and he's run 2 3:14s. So he's done it twice and 5 minutes faster. So blows my mind. So he's not coming back this year, which is fantastic.
That's phenomenal. So it gives you a chance.
Yeah, that's it. But hey, it doesn't. Can't control who turns up. And I've had a good chat with Rich about the race. Beauty of having him in my corner. He's the current world record holder for Ultraman. And he's also the current world champion from last year as well. So, he knows how to do it, and it's nice to have him coaching me.
And the whole family, they'll be out there as well, supporting you along the way.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of the race is, like Ironman's such a lonely event as a partner. I think, you're on the sidelines, you disappear for 4 hours on the bike, and you turn around, you see them again, then they're gone again for another few hours. So, it's with Ultraman, you actually have support crew with you. So Mandy will be with me the whole race basically. So
excellent.
Yeah.
Now, just like in some of these big races, some of the stuff that always stands out in my mind, I keep hearing in my head, keep on swimming, keep on swimming. Yeah. I don't know who, that was Mary Jackson used to say that to me.
Yeah.
Keep on swimming. Having a mantra.
Yeah, sure.
So in terms of mantras, do you have any mantras that you've used in the past, or even for Kona, mantras that you used out there on the course?
I like to break it down quite into smaller chunks at the end of the day, and I think that's the thing you get with your training. I've done that right since my first Ironman was, you break the bike down into 2 laps, all of a sudden 90Ks doesn't sound like that far, So if you look at it as a 180K ride, you're 40Ks in going, how the hell am I going to get home? So, breaking it down and then just, reflecting on the training you've done, I suppose, and you find that the time passes quite nicely. So, but even swimming, your brain, and you do it in training as well as in racing, your brain can drift. and you start thinking about different things. And yeah.
Okay, we'll stop on that point for a
Yeah,
second
okay.
because I was just sitting there thinking when we talk about swimming.
Yep.
I mean, people follow that black line,
Oh yeah.
right? And I think about you know what, that can be a very lonely moment just sitting there swimming from one end and back and
sure,
forth all
sure.
over. How do you go through that? What's your mental game for if you know that you're going to go out and just swim 2,000 meters in the pool or 3,000 meters in the pool?
Yeah.
Or what is? Do you have
once again, it comes back to the motivation side of things, but you know, it's you know, I always come back to thinking about breathing and technique, you know, because that's the two things that fade in a race as well, and you know, you all of a sudden you're not getting the most out of your stroke, and if you do it in the pool and you keep pulling yourself back in the pool, then you're more than likely going to do it in race day, and that's where all habits are created, is in training, and that's what you take to the race paddock at the end of the day. So. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be some interesting times in the pool over the next bit. Like, I'm swimming 3K sets at the moment just because that's the distance, and I'm like, you know, that's a cute warm up when I get to this Ultraman training when I got to go and train to swim 10K. So yeah, there's going to be some interesting challenges ahead in the pool, and it'll be a different mindset, I think, to go out and do a 7-8K swim set as well. So
your swimming's obviously come a long way, man. I think I saw it even the other day on Strava where some people like to hide their stuff on Strava. They don't want to be known.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
I saw. I think you did a 3K swim set that was like.
Yes.
47 minutes or something.
Yeah. So yeah, it was a 50 set, and the pool was pulled into 25 meters. So that's they'd shorten the pool to 25 meters. So it the tumble turns on a 25 meter pool get your pace down a little bit. But hey, I'm swimming well. I've sort of got myself to a point. You know, there's a coach in the T0 crew that I'm going to go spend some time with. That did wonders for Rich, because Rich wasn't the strongest of swimmers either. And this lady Lisa Spink is going to I'm going to try and catch her. She doesn't know that yet, but I'm going to try and catch up with her in the next little bit. Just to see if she can help me, you know, take it to that next level, I suppose.
Awesome. So Ultraman, look out for that. And how much time do we have before you line up for that race?
So it's in May. It's the second weekend of May, so it's the weekend after Port Macquarie Ironman. So there's some crazy people that go and do both.
Are you doing that?
No, God, no.
No?
So it's amazing, the training, you know, that's what we're talking about, is it's totally different ball game. You know, it's running off the bike isn't a thing, you know, because you don't do it in the race. So, you know, it's different training to what I've done in the past, which I'm excited about.
One of the guys that was the first guy on here, Mark Smoothie.
Oh, yes.
It must have been last year. He went over to Europe and he did 3 Ironmen in 3 weekends.
Wow.
Which he hadn't done before, right?
Yeah,
and he's done, and this was what blew me away. He's done 50 Ironman events.
Yeah,
he's
amazing.
done Kona 3 times.
Yeah.
But one of the things that when he came back, it's since starting Ironman over the last, I don't know how many years, his times have got slower and slower and slower.
Yeah.
But he went over to do these 3 Ironman events over 3 weekends.
Yeah.
And he had his fastest Ironman by his second Ironman or his third.
Yeah,
because
is that
it was
right?
just
getting it done.
Yeah, getting it done, but it was surprising. The body the body adjusted.
Yeah, sure.
And
It's
that's
like anything. Yeah.
the body just got used to it. Like, oh, you're gonna do this. Let's do this.
Yeah, sure.
You know, and so to all those people out there that are probably sitting on the couch watching this, thinking, oh, I could never do what this guy's done, and he's done all this stuff. How do you start? I mean, how do you talk to somebody like that about?
Yeah, well, I mean, you can, you know, obviously get the help of a coach, but I think it's you know, joining a club or joining a group, whether it be a run group or a swim group or a triathlon club or whatever, and you know, meeting like-minded people and finding someone to train with, someone that you can meet at the coffee shop and ride from there and then catch up afterwards. I think it's such an important part is you know, having people to do it with it early on, as particular, you know, getting the knowledge, because you can't just go in and you don't know what you don't know at the end of the day. So there's always people particularly in triathlon. I found it changed my life to a point that I think I've become a bit more of a compassionate person, and being around all the people that are involved in the clubs and the likes. And, you know, I think that's something that everyone's willing to help each other, and that can come to race day as well. You know, whenever you're on the side of the road with a flat tyre, someone's always willing to give up a gas canister to help you out, sort of thing. So I think that's an important part, is taking someone on the journey with you, maybe, or you know, finding someone to get in amongst their training as well.
Very cool.
There's plenty of groups out there.
Yeah, there are, and we were talking about that before we kicked off. Was that you know, the clubs, you just got to get involved and let the club take you as far as you want to go.
Yeah, 100%.
Before you ultimately decide I need to maybe look for an independent coach and actually get me to that next level.
Yeah, sure.
And I think that's...
Yeah, they all have. I mean, every club has its benchmark, and they set themselves as whether they're a family club. And there's guys, there's clubs out there that don't have that family aspect. They're just pure performance, you know. So, and each to their own. You put yourself in the right place and find that hole for yourself.
I think the tribe. I think finding the tribe is important.
Yeah, 100%.
That's that. You know, like I can't imagine how many times we hung out before the pool actually opened up at in North Lakes.
Yeah.
You know, waiting for them to open up, and you know, you'd have 12 to 15 of us sitting out there talking shit to one another
that's right.
before we got in the pool.
We were pretty good at that.
We always knew who was going to be in which lane.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, sure. But hey, it's one of those things. It's a progression, right?
Yeah,
you
man.
know, you can't start in lane 5. If you are, you're a freak. But
that's exactly it. So moving forward, if people want to get in contact with you, because I feel that you have a wealth of information. You have an amazing amount of information, just not from experience, but from where you are today. From a decade ago. How do people contact you?
Well, I mean, you can get me through Facebook if you like, or Strava. You know, there's always options to, and I've met some great people from around the world that you know, have been following a story and read my race report that we've shared online or whatever it may be, and. You know, there's you can contact me through the T0 website as well. My coaching blogs, bio, is on there.
Cool.
And my email address is there as well. So, but yeah, it's a.
But do we have to wait? We have to wait for somebody to drop off out of the 4 athletes before we get put on to Cheyne Murphy.
Well, yeah, I've kind of pulled that up a little bit because I live a pretty busy life with work. I'm working with the brand ASICS and you know, like with. You know, not giving up my family time as well as, you know, heading towards coaching or training, for Ultraman while still coaching a few athletes. I want to make sure I can manage that and, you know, I want to focus on getting good at it as well because it's a new journey for me. It's not something I'm just going to get in and be brilliant at, but I've had a good time so far. I think the athletes are enjoying their time with me and it's something that, you know, I want to keep on learning. All I'm doing is listening to podcasts all the way to work now instead of the radio, and reading books. And, you know, I've done Training Peaks courses, and it's a different world for me. But I'm really enjoying it. So
awesome. So people can reach out and get in contact with
100%,
you. And I think that's important. And look, Cheyne, is there anything that you want to? We'll cap this thing off. But is there anything that you want to share with the wider audience out there? As far as, you know, what you can achieve, or if you had to give one piece of advice, how would you leave it?
I think you got to set goals for yourself. It's hard to sling your legs over the bed at 5 o'clock in the morning or 4 o'clock in the morning when it's freezing cold outside if you don't have something you're working towards.
Yep.
You know, your goals, you know, whether they're just to once again reach your first finish line or you want to go and chase down a dream, you know, you can set them pretty big to scare yourself a little bit as well, because setting goals that are easily achievable aren't going to probably get you the motivation that you need. But, you know, set some big goals and go get them at the end of the day, and, you know, find someone to help you get there if you need to. But yeah, it's a pretty awesome ride.
Awesome. Well, listen, Cheyne Murphy, thanks for being on the Attitude Series podcast. I know you got another episode in you. I'm looking forward to the next journey with you and the Ultraman coming up. So thanks for being on.
Awesome. Thanks very much.
All right, man.
Cheers.